Yes lads, welcome to the video. I thought I'd do a sit down video of pricing a Rewire because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are just setting out. Even myself, when I was first setting up, I was like, what do I even price? Is it like, how do I even price this job? How do I go about pricing this job? So I thought I'd do a informative sit down video for you guys so we can go through it together. It is currently 8 o'clock and we're going to get a Rewire priced. I've just had a look at the Rewire and we're going to go through and price it together. So sit back, relax, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. When pricing jobs, there's quite a few things that you need to think about because obviously as a business, you need to be making profit. Otherwise, what is the point of having a business? You might as well just go subby for £200 a day or whatever it may be. So the first thing I always think about is location. So how close is the job to your house? How far are you going to have to travel? Are you going to have to get digs? Are you going to have to get a hotel, stay somewhere? You have to cater for that within the price because with us tradies, we have to go where the work is and sometimes we might have to cater for a hotel, stay, food and things like that. In this circumstance, we've got a fairly local Rewire. It's about 20 minutes from my house, which isn't too bad at all. So that is number one that we're going to factor in location. Number two, there's sort of two ways that you can price a job and that is through per point sort of system. So you've got a spreadsheet, well in my case I've got a spreadsheet of how much each thing costs per point. Sometimes it can get a little bit difficult with builders when you do it that way because if you're putting in 30 spotlights it can up the cost massively and then they go you're way too expensive. We've lost a few builders from it. It just is what it is. And number two, the second way that you can price it is if you look in there and it's an empty shell and you think, yeah, we can smash out the first fix in 3 days, we can do the second fix in 3 days, and you can pinpoint how long it's going to actually take you, and then you do it by a day rate. So you can just work out your day rate of how much you need to earn to make money, cover yourself, and then you can do day rate plus the materials. But in this circumstance, we're going to be doing it per point. We spoke to the client, they're happy to do it on a per point basis. I've already told them, I'm pretty transparent with people. I've told them the prices and they're happy to do it that way. So we're going to do it per point. Number three is access and availability. So are you going to have to be doing it in the evenings, weekends? Have you got access throughout the week where you can just do it throughout the day, Monday to Friday? Because in some circumstances, you might have to do it on a weekend where they're closed. If it's a restaurant, you might have to only be able to do it on a Sunday, for instance. So you've got to cater for that as well. Also covering with the access is, is parking. So are you going to have to pay parking? So for me, sometimes I work in London. You have to pay for the parking, which could be up to £40 a day. Congestion. If you don't have a ULEZ van, you're going to have to pay for that as well. So all these costs you have to take into account because at the end of the day, you're the one paying for it and it's got to be included in the price no matter what. Number four is what is the job actually like? Have you got all open walls? Is it all stud walls where you can just drill through and it's just a piece of piss, it's an absolute doddle, you can just drill through the joists, they've got web joists so you can just throw cables through? Or is it an old style Rewire where you have brick walls, everything's got to be chased out, which is extra time obviously, compared to a stud wall? Because there's a massive difference from working in an old brick wall house to stud work new build. An old brick wall is going to take you twice as long. With the chasing out, you've got to chisel out the boxes, capping, oval, conduit, all that jazz is going to take twice as long. Another big one is, in terms of a Rewire, is it occupied or is it unoccupied? Because if it is occupied, it's going to take twice as long. To run cables, you're going to have to move furniture, lift up the carpet, make sure the carpet's back down at the end of the day, make sure the furniture's back where it was so people can still live there. You're going to have to make sure that supplies are still on so they've got power and lighting. So it does take twice as long. But yeah, they're pretty much sort of the main things I think about when pricing jobs. So let's get into pricing this job and everything you need to know about this job and how much it's actually going to cost at the end. Right, so don't judge the pink notebook. I nicked it off the wife, but very old school. So what we've done is we've just calculated all our points, so all our different accessories, sockets, switches, boiler wiring, all the kitchen appliances. We've just labelled them with tally how many they've got, and then we've also calculated what we're going to have in the fuse board, because that makes a massive difference as well. So we've got all our circuits written out which we think we're going to be needed, and then yeah, now we can transfer that to our spreadsheet. So basically we've got a spreadsheet on the laptop with literally everything you could imagine price wise, pretty much, for a domestic rewire. So we've got each itemized thing, the cost, and then you put in the quantity, and then it will calculate to a mass sum. So a bit of context on the Rewire. So like I said before, it's about 20 minutes from my house, which is perfect. There's parking, so there's nothing to worry about with the parking side of things. No congestion, anything like that. Everything is white plastic. The spotlights are all white. They're going to be just the LED spotlights, probably JCC V50s. And then all the accessories are all white. Kitchen stuff is all white. The property is going to be rented out, so everything's going to be like white Hager probably. Fuse board, we'll probably just have a SPD. How many ways we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We put in probably a 10-way fuse board, SPD, and then I think we've also got to put in a main switch as well. Bonding's already done because it's done communally off the communal board, so we don't need to worry about the bonding. And yeah, the Rewire itself is all old brick, so everything's got to be chased out. So the sockets need chasing out, the switches, we're going to have to chase up for all the switches and switch lines. Chase down because we can run underneath the floor. Right, we're going to get into the pricing now on this Rewire, but before we do, Whisker sent out this beer, and it's actually decent, so we're necking this beer while getting this video and pricing done. But without further ado, what you've all been waiting for, the pricing. So before, it's all white plastic accessories, nothing fancy. In this property, he wants 11 spotlights. We charge £75 per point. That's including the spotlight, cable, labour, second fix, first fix, all that jazz. Switches, he's got 7 switches going in at £35 a point. Two-way, £35 a point. In terms of the switches, you might have a 2-gang switch, but that's two switch lines, so we don't count that as one switch, even though it's on a 1 plate. We count that as 2 switches. Mirror feed in the bathroom, £35 a point. Boiler wiring is £110, and then we've got a stack cable on its own, which is £35, and then we have got the smoke and the heat, which is £95 each. That's the fitting, wiring. We also run a circuit solely for the smoke alarms, so that's all that included. And then we have pendant, £35. Sockets, he's got 12 sockets going in. We charge £77 a socket. Everything's got to get chased out as well, so we've took that into account. That includes back box, socket, cable, earth sleeving, literally everything. And then coming to the kitchen, it's got quite a few things in the kitchen. So obviously ovens a bit dearer because bigger size cable. All the appliances in the kitchen are going to have their own circuit. Well, we're going to run a kitchen ring, then we're going to have their own circuit for the oven and the hob. The hob, we're going to be running in a 6mm, so that's bigger size cable compared to a socket, but every appliance is going to have an isolator in the cupboard, so you've got to think you've got to run from the fuse board to the isolator in the cupboard, from the isolator to the actual appliance, and then the appliance is going to have either a socket or a flex plate. For the hob, 125, and then for each appliance is £100. So all of those are going to have isolators in the cupboard, and then on the accessories. And then that is pretty much it in terms of accessories. Oh yeah, pendant, £35. Obviously, pendant is much cheaper than having spotlights because you're gonna, first of all, you're gonna have multiple spotlights, so it's gonna amount to more money. And then the pendant is obviously cheaper to buy, so that's why they're cheaper than spotlights. And then we go to the fuse boards. So what we do for fuse boards, we allow for fuse board with SPD on their own. So with the SPD and the fuse board, it is 520, and then we have got each circuit on their own, because obviously we only install RCBO boards. I will never install split load boards, anything like that. I just refuse to. I say to the customer, I'm not installing it, mate. I only give out the best quality fuse boards and brands that I can trust. So we go with RCBO fuse boards, which I think is the only way, and then we charge £29 per breaker basically per RCBO because they all cost. So we've got the fuse board, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 circuits going in. So yeah, you can probably calculate that from what I've just said. With the extract fan, we have got it at £200. That is because we have to core the hole out to the wall. That can take quite a bit of time sometimes. We've got the duct, we've got the actual fan itself, and then we've got the cable, and that also includes the fan isolator as well. So within that £200 is everything that we're going to need for the extract included. We use pretty high quality extract fans as well. So old style, chasing out, rewire, 1 bed, bathroom, living room, kitchen. We have got a total price of £4,108. So yeah, that's pretty much everything included. It's not the biggest rewire in the world, but there's going to be a fair bit of work because we've got to get the floorboards up, we've got the chasing to do, and yeah, hopefully if we get this one, I'll be documenting it on here as well, the full process. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. But that is pretty much the process of pricing a rewire. I hope this has helped someone out. Like I said, you can do it this way per point, or you can do it on days. All depends on the circumstances. But these are the things I look out for. These are the pricings that we do. Just trying to be transparent with you guys and be open and honest. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to finish this off now, and I will catch you on the next one. Stay grafting, lads.